Major flooding continues across much of northeastern New South Wales, and there is more rain on the way today. It's Thursday the 22nd of May. I'm Angus here at the Bureau of Meteorology with the latest information on this unfolding severe weather situation, which has been going for several days and will continue to do so. Here's the radar from this morning. In fact, let's put it onto loop, and we can see a couple of key changes in the radar today compared to the radar yesterday and the last couple of days. Firstly, the rain has become more extensive. Now there's wet weather from up near Grafton and Coffs Harbour right down to the Illawarra and inland to parts of the Riverina. But secondly, this band of rain has become a little more tatty, a bit patchier. There's a few gaps in the middle. It's like that whole band is just smeared out a little bit from the last few days. But there are still some pockets in here of heavier falls, as shown by the yellow on the map. If we zoom into the east coast, we can see some regions of heavier rain up around Coffs Harbour, south of Port Macquarie, inland of Sydney and Wollongong. Certainly going to be some further wet weather on the cards over the next couple of days, and that is why we have continued with severe weather warnings. We've now got 2 warning areas. We can get a touch more detail if we zoom in a little bit across New South Wales. We'll start with the north one because this is the most significant rain which has been falling. This is across the mid-north coast from north of Coffs Harbour down to south of Forster. This area has seen so much wet weather since around about Sunday right through until this morning. Some places have had over half a metre, over 500 millimetres of rain in that time, and that has led to significant, widespread, major flooding through these areas. The rain is starting to taper away, starting to ease off, but we certainly could still see another 80 to 120 millimetres in this area through the course of today before that rain does ease. The second area which has a severe weather warning involved is for southern parts of the Hunter, as well as the Blue Mountains west of Sydney and parts of the Central Highlands of New South Wales. This area has not seen nearly as much rainfall as what has fallen across the mid-north coast, so we don't anticipate the same level of flood response through here, but with 100 millimetres or so over the next 24 hours through here, we certainly could see some areas of flooding really start to flare up over these regions. So more rain on the way across parts of New South Wales. That is going to contribute to the unfolding flood situation. This is the current snapshot of flood warnings for New South Wales, but this will change and get updated as we continue to monitor the rainfall. So don't take this as granted for the whole day. New warnings could be added, or some of these warnings may be upgraded. This is what we're currently looking at though at 11 a.m. on Thursday morning. Major warnings in place for the Nambucca River, Macleay, Hastings in the north. Then through these central areas here, major flood warnings for the Manning, Patterson, Gloucester and Wollombi rivers. And we've got moderate flood warnings in place for the Williams and the Hunter, which is of course a key river in this part of the country. I also want to draw your attention to some of the new minor flood warnings which have been added a little further to the south, inland of Sydney, which is just in here. There are now minor flood warnings current for the Colo River, Hawkesbury River and the Nepean River. So some pretty major rivers around that greater Sydney area which are in that secondary severe weather warning area, likely to see significant accumulations through the remainder of the day. And the reason that we're now anticipating this rain starting to move southwards in towards Sydney, the Illawarra, down towards the south coast is because the entire weather pattern in the coming days will shift south. This is Thursday morning. I'm going to play this loop out until Friday evening, so the next day and a half or so, and just watch the gradual movement southwards of this low pressure area, this coastal trough and all the associated rainfall. So by the middle of Friday morning, the mid-north coast and the Hunter, which have been hit so hard, they'll be clearing up. Today is the last very wet day for that area, but there will be quite a lot of rain around southern, southeastern New South Wales and eastern Victoria on Friday. And in fact, a lot of the rain in these areas down here will be reasonably welcome after a number of dry months through summer and the first part of autumn so far this year. The key message is though, everything sliding south, rain through Sydney and the southeast, but at the same time on Friday that rain is clearing for those hardest hit areas through the mid-north coast and the northern Hunter. This is how much wet weather we could see over the next 48 hours or so. Pretty widespread, 50 to 100 millimetres through New South Wales, but thankfully we have finally lost those very, very high-end rainfall amounts. We are on the tail end of this event, but it is still going on for another 1 to 2 days. There will be significant impacts still as we still have further rainfall today, significant, potentially life-threatening flooding along those rivers, dangerous driving conditions, extensive road closures and community isolation has all been occurring already and will continue. Lots of damage to crops, trees, properties, power lines is expected for the next few days. This is what I'm going to finish on. This is the swell height for the east coast. Basically, south of this low pressure area, we're going to continue to see very large, damaging, hazardous waves for southeastern parts of New South Wales. So another day or so, and then we can finally say the worst of this event is over. But during that time, stay up to date with severe weather information and flood warnings. And if that severe weather is happening to you right now, then please do follow all your advice from local emergency services and disaster management. Thanks for watching. Have a safe day.